Good day, movie lovers. Morty the Movie Man here. Let's take a deep look into the Best Picture race this year. Some of these movies have premiered, some haven't, some have screeners, some have trailers. All of these are ones to watch out for. If any of these are in your top 10 and they're not in mine, totally understand, and you might be right. The first one is another early premiered film. It has prestige in the fact that Viola Davis is in it and gives it a great performance. It's Air, the Ben Affleck film. Now, I wasn't really thinking that this had a shot at all a few weeks ago even, but because so many movies have been pushed back, this one has creeped in back a little bit. Up next, now you might be like, what? How is this not in your top 10? But I'll go over it. I have The Color Purple. I don't enjoy lens flares in cameras with digital films. It just gives like an Ozempic commercial vibe. However, with that being said, I just cannot not see Fantasia Barrino at least being nominated. Same with Danielle Brooks. Regardless of how this movie turns out, I am still excited for it. It also has pretty strong production values. The costumes seem extravagant as well. We'll see how it plays out. It definitely could get put into Best Picture and be a good, strong contender. This next one is another one that I'm really excited about coming out. Like La Chimera, I think it could be a Best International Feature nomination. It seems to be a great satire on dictatorship. I'm talking about El Conde. It's the Pablo Larraín film, and this one feels not as pretentious, I think, to a lot of people as Spencer and Jackie. This has a comedic wit about it, and I think the audience is in on the joke. Clearly, he's interested in politics, in people in those positions of power, so we'll see if it works out here. My next one is another film that you might even have in your top 5 and are like, why is this not in your top 5? It's The Holdovers by Alexander Payne. I love that this has that 70s feel to it, shot on film similar to Licorice Pizza. Part of me does worry that it's going to be too sad and dramatic. Now, that fear might not be warranted at all, and it might be a truly excellent movie. I think Divine Joy Randolph definitely can get in. Early screenings apparently were quite strong. Anything that's shot on film I can't wait for, so. We might not have a trailer yet for this next one, but David Fincher combined with the stills that are already out, combined with just Michael Fassbender in general, makes me very excited for The Killer. This film just looks so strong. Like, is it another Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? Gone Girl? Even if it has amazing reviews by critics, his thriller-esque films have only done really well with the Academy if they're based in events in history. Take The Social Network, for example. That is the definitive movie of our time about social media and how it's grown and the manipulation of it. But the premise, this assassin who develops a conscience, there will be a lot of tonal shifts and changes, maybe some plot shifts. Early screeners have been quite strong as well. And this last one is probably number 11, just outside of my top 10, but it's a movie that I think feels the most buzzy of any film, that it has a bit of heart, a bit of music, a bit of Hollywood in it. It's Maestro, the Bradley Cooper film, based on the life of Leonard Bernstein and his homosexual relationships and his good friendship with his wife. Carey Mulligan is in this as well. Matt Bomer is in it, one of his love interests. It just seems like another Hollywood about Hollywood movie that could be pushed really well by Netflix. Netflix had Mank. Look how that turned out, 10 nominations and a few wins. The problem is it had a few mixed to negative reviews in the early screeners, but I feel like Netflix is going to do whatever they possibly can to make this at least a Best Picture nomination, and it seems like a true passion project for Bradley Cooper. And now, we come to the top 10. Coming in at number 10, we have the Palme d'Or winner of this year, Anatomy of a Fall, starring Sandra Hüller, who very well could run away with the Critics Awards for lead actress this year. What's particularly interesting about this from the trailer is that the mother is being accused of the murder of the husband, and the only witness is the son, who believes that he heard an altercation, but he didn't see anything occur. He was already gone by the time the death happened. You cannot tell if she is guilty or not. Coming in at number 9, Poor Things by Yorgos Lanthimos. A lot of people don't have this in their top 10 right now, I think because it was originally set to premiere in September. A lot of people thought, if it's premiering that early, does the company not have that much faith in the film as a whole in terms of critical appeal? However, it has now been pushed back to December. This is apparently one of Emma Stone's favorite characters she's ever played. I think this is probably the best trailer of the year so far. It has a mixture of sets and costumes of different eras. It's both sci-fi and Victorian style. There's also use of the fisheye lens cinematography, which gives this disorienting factor about it, kind of like you're looking through a peephole into a hotel room. Number 8 is one of my most anticipated movies of the year, Saltburn, directed by Emerald Fennell, who did Promising Young Woman. This thriller is gay as hell. It blends Downton Abbey and Babylon energy together. The movie stars Barry Keoghan as a guy stalking Jacob Elordi, and the early screeners have been overwhelmingly positive. Number 7 has to be the film that was the most crowded movie theater I was in so far this year, and there have been quite a few, from the Super Mario Bros. To Barbie. I'm talking about, of course, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, the first one did not get into Best Picture, but I think a lot of that just had to do with people not really realizing how great this film would be, not just commercially, but critically as well. Another thing that makes this edition stand out is the fact that the movie starts from Gwen's POV, which both allows us to be oriented to the fact that we're going to be exploring multiverses and not all the scenes need to be dominated by Miles, but also giving us a great backstory to Gwen herself. At number 6 just happens to be my favorite movie of the year so far, Barbie, and I did not expect for a moment to have said those words in that order. There were people clapping at America Ferrera's speech. That isn't something I've experienced in a theater except for when I saw Sparrows with Mary Pickford and people were yelling at the villain because there was no dialogue, so it wasn't like you were gonna miss anything with the audio. Again, that level of like a cinema of attraction is just incredible, and then combine that with the fact that this film uses practical effects that paid homage pretty much to Méliès as Barbie and Ken leave Barbie Land and go into the real world. At number 5, talk about another extremely great trailer. Dune Part 2 has a wide color palette. This one is going to be much more action-packed and very well could be more acclaimed than the first. Now we get into the top 4, and I think that all 4 of these are genuine contenders for the win. At number 4, though, we have the Grand Prix winning The Zone of Interest. Now, Jonathan Glazer has directed movies that have not been for everyone in the past, such as Under the Skin. However, in this case, with this film, something that really makes me excited about this film's accessibility, if you will, is the fact that it has a 98 on Metacritic with nearly 20 reviews. Furthermore, it was the only movie this year that was unanimously accepted to be put in competition at Cannes. This film also has Sandra Hüller, who was the star of the Palme d'Or winning film Anatomy of a Fall, which was number 10, showing the gray lines and the gray areas of war, particularly in the Holocaust and World War II, is something that needs to be discussed more. Number 3, we have Past Lives. Now, this one is significant for a couple of reasons. It has a 94 on Metacritic and an 8.4 on IMDb. Combine that with the fact that there has been a recent interest in Korean and Asian cinema in general, with Bong Joon-ho's Parasite, the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. This film seems to be, regardless of its acclaim, coming in at just the right time. The story revolves around 3 people, 2 Koreans who have been separated over 20 years as she and her family have immigrated to the US, and her husband, the white American, who jokingly claims that he might be the villain of this story, considering he's standing in the way of true destiny and true love between people who have a unique connection in childhood. And story-wise, I think it might be the best trailer in how it conveys the emotion of the characters. And now the top two. Number 2, I actually have winning for Best Director, Christopher Nolan and Oppenheimer. Regardless of how you felt about the movie's pacing or anything else, the sheer guts that it takes to pull off a story at this level with such a budget is insane. The story of the nuclear bomb and how it was made and how it helped end World War II. Perhaps it's the perfect time to discuss this. You can't deny this film is visually stunning, and again, just like Barbie, people clapped in the audience. People are ready to support characters supporting each other, and in our climate currently, who could ask for more? And at number 1 is the movie that, subject matter wise, is probably the least discussed, which makes it all that more perilous in telling before it's truly forgotten in history. It's the master himself, Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. Based on the book of the same name, it tells the story of the Osage people being massacred as a result of them living on major oil. When you look at the sets themselves, the train station, the main streets, this could be the most nominated movie of the year. There we are. Tons of important films coming out or have already come out. Hopefully there are a few more masterpieces that we can all look at and maybe create more memes of. Thank you for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe, and also tell me if you think I'm right. I'm probably not. Well, maybe I am.